Hi there, my name's Ross from Ribeye Boats and Tenders in the UK, and beside me here we have our latest 9.8 metre outboard tender being built for Motoryacht Lady Jade. Now this is a British tender, British built tender, as you can see, built in an all black colour scheme to match the other 6.2 metre tender that we're supplying. The primary use of this tender will be a chase boat, and it will be used for an array of different things such as cruise services, but also and importantly getting guests to shore safely and comfortably. So in this video I'm going to give you a detailed walkthrough of the specification for this tender. Safe boarding is critical in any Ribeye tender design, and here particularly on this 9.8 metre you can see the client has specified our fully structural over-tube boarding step system where we actually screw bolts right into steel plates in the deck, making this super solid and high tech. You'll see here we've also specified a removable carbon boarding pole here, as you can see, with our tapered lollipop design at the top here. If you remove it, very lightweight, comes in a soft package, and then it stows away in one of the lockers, and you can see it can be installed very easily, and it really has a premium feel to it. It's super solid and it feels like an extension of the mothership, most importantly, and you can see boarding and exiting the tender really is predictable. It's super solid. The tube isn't going to flex when you use this system. Works really, really well. Now, as we look at the stern part of the tender here, you'll see the client has gone for the U-berth seating area, which means you can sit loads of guests at the back there. Another option that's been specified is this aft tent system here, bimini system, sorry. Now, this is fully removable, but on those days when it is very windy and the yacht is moored offshore, and let's say the guests are going to go for a nice dinner and are wearing clothes that they do not want to get any spray on, the crew can erect this in about 5 minutes. There is a zip door here and windows, and you can literally sit down inside, get loads of guests comfortably sat back here, zip the doors down, and you're going to get to your destination looking absolutely fantastic, ready for a great evening. Another point of this area, we can look at the upholstery here. So the crew have decided to specify Sunbrella seat fabric, which matches the same fabric used on the other tender and also the exterior cushions on the mothership. You'll find if this was in more sort of, let's say, crew mode, this rear bimini would not be installed. But still, for sort of safe boarding, we have loads of flipping pieces of upholstery which reveal more synthetic non-slip boarding steps. What that means is you know, crew and guests aren't going to be standing on seats, which will prolong the longevity of cushions. With regards to storage in this part of the tender as well, we have these really nice stainless steel catches at the back here. You'll see stainless fittings for the bilge system and also things like really high quality deck bungs. But from a storage perspective, if I lift this up, another key benefit of the Ribeye high volume deep V that we're known for is having super deep V lockers. We have our black water tank at the back there. Everything is finished in premium handmade teak. We have our fuel water separators at the back there, everything accessible. And we also have our shore power system, again, right where you want to see. And because we hinge the backrest at the top and we hold up the locker with these premium gas rams, everything is easy to access for in-life serviceability, because at some point somebody's going to need to get in there to work on these parts. And the nice thing about the deep V is how deep this locker is. You can get loads of kit in there, and you'll see the Ribeye on every locker you'll find on this tender. Proper seals everywhere and deep rain channels directing the water away from those locker spaces, making these lockers truly weatherproof. So if you need to put kit or luggage in there, everything is going to be fine. At the midships, our client has specified our upright helm station unit, which is designed specifically for tender purposes. So starting at the back here, you'll see the entire back is upholstered, which if you're underway, actually makes a really good leaning surface, so you can hang on to these handles here when you're doing slightly higher speeds. But also when in this situation, we've got so much space here for getting guest, crew, kit on and off the tender. However, in the need for additional seating, you can simply take a knee here, disengage the lower piece from the poppers, you lift it up like so, and then we have two stainless legs here and 2 receivers, which you quite simply line up by eye. You drop it down and you have a few more seats here, so clearly you could shuttle plenty of guests here to shore comfortably on these really deep foam cushions. We move forward. On the top of the helm station, we have 2 lockers, which are really cool units with drains in. You can spec these with a fridge, so if you wanted to store cold bottles of water for guests here and hand out bottles or cold flannels on those warmer days, these work really well for that. Or perhaps you might just want to store spare mooring lines or whatever you need in these really accessible locker spaces. All finished really nice with good hinges, good catches. We move forward again. So this is a lean post for whoever is at the helm and the navigator, and you can really butt this unit right up to the dash here to maximise the space for whatever you're going to use the aft area of the tender for. But ergonomically, it works really well. I can hang on to my steering wheel and my twin throttle system here to operate the tender safely, and there's plenty of space there for a navigator to hang on like so, and also hang on to the T-top to see what is going on with the guests on board from the helm. What you get with every Ribeye Tender is super yacht quality of finish. You'll see a standard here, we've fitted a really nicely finished carbon dash, powder coated fittings, super high quality Italian Isotta steering wheel. Again, if an owner was to drive this tender, I think they'd be really proud and excited about what this tender looks like and what it feels like to be on board. We do often find owners will want to drive these tenders, and what Ribeyes are known for, again, is the high volume deep V hull, which means these tenders are very dry, very capable and very predictable in the way they handle choppy sea. They really are a pleasure to drive. However, when they're at rest, the deep V does sit below the water, so the tubes will press into the water at the stern, which means the boarding is super solid and predictable. Big windscreen, as you can see, for when you're doing those slightly higher speeds. Guests behind here again are going to benefit from the protection of this dynamic console moulding, and the T-top, as you can see, we've designed this to be fully structural. You'll see there's various loops around the outer edges of the T-top, so sometimes clients might want to use this for sort of day boat functions. So when the mothership is at anchor somewhere, you might want to load this up with guests or charter guests, get around the coast somewhere private. You might want to run with paddle boards on the top, for example. This is fully structural. I can literally hang off the back. And another benefit of that structural nature of the design is how quiet it is when you're crashing through the sea. You really do not hit a thing. Now, there's various different finishes we can go for on the T-top. We can go for a mesh finish, which allows a little bit of sunlight through, but primarily gives you an amount of shade. Or in this specification, the client has gone for a fully waterproof fabric. So on a day when it's slightly raining, you can be underneath the, you can be in the cockpit area and be really protected from the elements. It works super well. One final thing about the T-top, if we are mooring alongside a pontoon, you'll find structural cleats, C-Smart cleats at the stern and in the bow area, all fitted with backing plates underneath the laminate, so super strong. They will not fail or pull through or crack the laminate. But we also integrate a cleat onto the T-top design here, which is welded on, a perfect way to run your midship spring lines. Before we move into the foredeck area, we will finish off on the console and the rigging. So this console has been specified without a front seat. And then we have a nice premium compression latch here, which you can install and access the console using this locker lid with the gas rams. Now we have a pocket here for all of your instrumentation covers, which can be stored there nicely when you're underway. Everything has a place on these tenders. And inside here, we have specified the tender with the heads, but with a work hatch on top of it, which is fully structural if you want to store kit on there with bungees, or even if you want to kneel on there to access your clearly labelled wiring. And if we just head in there and take a closer look, something Ribeyes are known for is the finish of our wiring. Our guys in Dartmouth really regard this as art, and as you can see, everything is clearly labelled, clearly numbered, and backed up on wiring diagrams on the tender archives, which we issue at time of tender handover. However, we do store those details. So, for example, if the crew, the engineers ever changed on the yacht, they can get in touch with us, and after one phone call, we can reissue that handover tender archive with all the technical details for wiring, strop certification, anything the tender was issued with, we can deploy anytime. Looking at the foredeck area with the U-berth seating, we have loads more comfortable guest seats here. When you're in dayboat mode, there are sunbed infill cushions that come with this tender, so you can deploy the cushions all along here, making this area into a large sunbed. And we do supply cushions for the U-berth at the back of the boat as well, so if you were to fold down these biminis, people could sunbathe and enjoy the heat. But in this scenario, great for shuttling guests. And obviously in this part of the boat as well, there is a zip door at the front for bow boarding, but when the zip door is closed, you really are protected from the elements here. Underneath here, more weatherproof lockers. You'll see we have a massive locker underneath where my feet are as well. Some more mini exit steps for safe exiting the tender, and you'll find Scanstrut USB output points throughout the tender. There's one just underneath that step there, so guests could charge their phones, say, if they were out in using the tender as a day boat. Again, for safe exiting the tender or boarding, if we were to unzip the door, we can flip this piece of upholstery here, revealing more non-slip teak surfaces. And underneath that anchor hatch, we do have a through-hole windlass anchor system specified with a remote and a chain counter underneath there, and a safety line, of course. So yeah, this is a really functional tender that can perform an array of different roles. Great for guest runs, loads of protection. It is a high performance tender as well. So before we finish off this video, let's take a look at the transom. At the transom, as you can see, this tender has been specified with twin Yamaha 300 four-stroke engines. We absolutely love the Yamaha product because, like the rest of the tender, built with reliability in mind. Very quiet when you're operating the tender slowly, minimal vibration, but still fantastic performance. And should you need spares throughout the life cycle of the tender, loads of parts available through the Yamaha network throughout the world. However, all of those sort of spares would be managed from Ribeye HQ in Dartmouth, and that's something we're very passionate about. A cool new feature from Yamaha as well is the new SBW fully integrated power steering system, which is really seamless to use for when you're maneuvering the tender alongside pontoons or the stern of the mothership. Really sort of smooth at the helm. Works really well when you pair it with the joystick system from Yamaha as well. Here we have our new boarding steps, which bolt onto the back of the transom really nicely, giving crew just loads more usable space around here for an array of different functions. There is also a boarding ladder at the other side, on the port side of the engines. You'll see here the crew have specified some lifting holes here, so if you were to run a soft strop through this step here, it will give you the ability to attach to the fully structural lifting eyes on the transom. We also have bow lifting eyes inside the U-berth at the front. Other features at the back of the tender, we have our cleats here, big backing plates fitted on the underside of the laminate, so everything is super tough and strong, built for the job. We have our shore power and also our rear mast there with our aerials, our AIS, our water sports tow point, and also two eyelets there for running some form of flag if you needed to do that. Like every Ribeye, this 9.8 metre is based on a super deep V high voluminous hull, which means a really dry and comfortable ride for users when on board. You'll see we also have our tow points here for the 3-point tow, through-hole windlass, and our bow thruster. And the hull and all the laminates on the Ribeye tenders are built with an advanced infused foam core laminate. Everything is super high tech, zero breakouts for any one of these boats in the field. And that is something we're super proud of. So thank you for watching this video of a 9.8 metre. You can also specify this platform with either a single or a twin diesel inboard. So if you're looking for anything at all in this sort of size, please do get in touch. We'd love to hear from you. We'd love to learn about your brief and build you a fantastic tender and hopefully a really long working relationship.